All right, get ready, get ready, get ready. It's Let's Talk Business with Cheryl J. Cusoro. Welcome to the first hour of our show, and I am here with my guest co-host, Mrs. Keisha Pickett Board. Welcome again to the show.
Hello, good afternoon. I'm so happy to be here, Mama Cusoro.
She right out of the gate.
Yep.
Right out of the gate. That's right, Mama Cusoro. Keisha, daughter.
Yes.
Tell our radio listening audience just a little bit about you, since we have folk on from all over.
Well, I am Keisha Boyd. I have been here in Tampa for almost 20 years. I have Pickett Public Relations Group. Most people know me for my PR work and some special events, and entering into the publishing world with my husband, and loving life, wife, mom, community, you're doing what I do for Tampa and all around the country, wherever I'm working, and happy to be here with y'all.
I know you are. We thank you so much, but you're also a radio personality. You're an entrepreneur. And listen, go ahead, tell us just a little bit about Sail to Success.
So my husband just released his first book, Sail to Success, and it's basically an autobiography of his life. Literally, he served time in prison for almost 11 years, came on the other side doing great. And, I'm wearing, we have Power and Truth Publishing, and this is what this shirt says. There's power in your truth. And it's so, relevant to what we're talking about today with Saul's Juke Joint, because it tells some of our truths from back in the day. So I'm excited for them to hear about Saul's Juke Joint and what they look forward to seeing in this production.
And I tell you what, that's 100. That Saul's Juke Joint. I've been there, I've seen it. I think they published it. I've seen it 3 times. Getting ready to see it for my 4th time.
Yeah.
We are so excited today because we have in the virtual studio.
Yes.
the award-winning theatrical writer. You can call him a playwright. You can call him whatever you want, but he created the vision of Saul's Juke Joint, and we have the members of the cast in the studio. We will get to hear from each one of them, but let me just tell you who's in the studio. And listen, we're virtual, so you guys can just kind of raise your hand. Tony Stinyard, where are you?
Right, how you doing?
See, oh my gosh, Desmond Boone in the house.
Yes, I am.
Mr. Lynn Jackson.
How y'all doing? Good morning, or actually good afternoon.
Listen, he sounds like OB. You'll hear more about that in a moment. And we've got 2 beautiful ladies joining us. Amber Ford.
Hi.
There she is. And then down in my corner, Miss Brittany Bellamy.
Hi.
Welcome. Oh my gosh.
Thank you.
He is playing all of them are great characters, and I really love them all. But there's one, OMG, hold me somebody, my firstborn, the Alan Rocky Lane Cuso Jr.
Hey.
PC, welcome to the show from the LA.
Thank you. You sound a little biased, but thank you.
I am, and that is exactly why I am not interviewing you today. I know my limits. Welcome all of you to the show. We are so excited to have you. Listen, I am so excited. I know we're 30 days out, maybe 31 days out. But listen, if you're in Tampa, go to Southwest or whatever airlines you like, but the tickets are cheap. And Tony's going to talk to you a lot about what's available, but I already got my ticket, y'all. Spend $50 and you can see 3 shows. Now, who is this award-winning writer, producer? And I'm sure there's a lot of other titles, like the 2 that I love. He's a father.
Yes.
Yeah, he makes things happen. He's a family man. He does a lot for us in the whole theatrical world, but we're going to find out just a little bit more about him, and then let him tell us what's important, what we really should know about him. But let me tell you a little bit about this award-winning, filmmaker, theater director, and writer, Tampa native, growing up in East Tampa. I feel you. I'm an East Tampa girl, college chill.
Okay.
Loving and playing sports. He is just an all-around kind of guy, but he loves the arts. He loves acting. He loves writing. He loves producing, and all of that is going to come to life. But in 2008, he started acting and fell in love, and then he went behind the scenes. And in 2009, he started his own production company and produced his first short film and award-winning a worldwide online film festival. He'll have to tell us a little bit about that. Then he was motivated and created what we're here today to talk about, this award-winning show called Saul's Juke Joint. Saul's 3 awards alone and making Tony a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times plus in multiple categories. Welcome to the show, Mr. Tony Stinyard.
Thank you. I don't know how to act that nice announcement.
It is, but you can take a few moments and say a little something before we go on to your cast members.
Well, just I guess to tell everyone about the show, Saul Juke Joint was actually inspired, to let people know where the show and the idea came from. It actually was inspired from my grandmother. I actually grew up on the weekends up in Zephyr Hills in Dade City area, and there was actually a bar called Saul's. And over the years, as I got older, my grandmother became a heavy Christian. And so I used to always tease her about, I used to call it a juke joint. And so I said, hey, when you go to that juke joint, I just throw little jabs at her or whatever. And so that's how this whole story came about. And I actually took all the names. It's actually a lot of these names is 90% of them are my family. And I actually took stories that happened over the years and then combined it and made it into like a 1930s piece. I just wanted something different from like a normal to contemporary play.
It is, and we'll talk about that because you really do take us into that century, and it's just amazing. You feel like you're in the 20s and the 30s, and I love it. I love the costumes, the verbiage, and all aspects of it. And then over here, so thank you so much, Mr. Stinyard, and we have Mr. Desmond Boone, another Floridian, born in Miami, Florida. Keisha, check this out, attended Florida A&M University as a percussion section leader. He is a musical director at Busch Gardens Tampa for what? 28 years?
Too long.
What a blessing. What a blessing. He directed and choreographed the show Decades Rewind, America's Got Talent, semifinalist with the band. He's a distinguished band of brass. And of course, Saul's Juke Joint, where he is the composer. And most of all, he's a huge fan of Jesus Christ. Welcome to the show, Desmond.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hey, Rattler.
I don't know what to say.
That's okay, Lynn. We don't have to worry about that. Let's go on to Obi. That is a character played by Mr. Lynn Jackson. Whoop, 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 who's a member of IMBD. He can tell us all about that. He was born and raised in New York. Upon retiring from law enforcement, there he started his acting career in the Tampa Bay area and is very proud to have been chosen to perform in a film Standing Firm as Cornelius. Other accomplishments thus far are a short film named Love by Jerome Brown, which was chosen by the Sunscreen Film Festival, St. Petersburg, Florida in 2016. A play, Think Like a Lady by Melvin and Marvin Coleman. Lynn was casting stage play Between Calls, and I Think She's the One by Rory Lawrence. Whoop, whoop, shout out to Rory Lawrence, which led off to the Tampa Bay Theater Festival in 2016 and 2017, where he performed at the Strass Center for the Performing Arts. Lynn has been casted in Saul's Juke Joint since 2018 as Cleo, written and directed by Tony Senior, which staged at SJC, now cast as OB. You'll see him at the Atlanta Black Film Festival in October. Welcome to the show, Mr. Jackson.
All right. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Oh, you guys are just so sweet. Keisha is just going to, you better get ready because when Keisha comes, she's going to draw you all out.
All right.
The
Bring it.
leading
Bring it.
actor. We're just giving our audience a preview of who's coming down the pipeline. And she is going to come correct. The lead actor, Amber Forbes, holds a bachelor's degree in the theater, performing and management from the Florida International University and is currently pursuing her Bachelor of Fine Arts degree in interior design. This South Florida native made Tampa her home 12 years ago and is blessed to be continuously embraced by the Tampa theater community. A streetcar named Desire. All right, girl.
Are we frozen? Okay.
All right, Amber, so
Amber?
just introduce yourself.
Yeah. So Amber, you have,
Magnolia.
there you go.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Harewood Players and the Mountaintop. Welcome to the show, Miss Forbes.
Hi, it's a pleasure to be here.
Look at that smile. And I'm going to cheat. What exactly are you going to be doing when we see you in the ATL, Miss Amber?
Of course, in Saul's Juke Joint, playing the lead character, Miss P, who owns the Juke Joint.
All right. So y'all look forward to checking out who she is. And then we have Miss Brittany Cole Bellamy, a native of Plant City. All of these Floridians residing in Tampa, Florida. Over the past several years, Brittany has been seen in commercials, on printed advertisement, on stages all over the Tampa Bay area and major cities, including Atlanta, Georgia, and Washington, D.C. Highlighted performances includes her musical number in Saul's Joint, stage show by AMS Productions, written and directed by award-winning director, who is it? None other than Tony Stenyard. Her memorable portrayal of Benitha Younger in the theatrical classic, A Raisin in the Sun by Lorraine Hansberry. Wow, Yasmin Felix in El Artiste. It's French, written and directed by Joy Banks. Brittany's passion for performing arts is illuminated by the energy she brings in each performance. Well, tell us about that energy, Miss Brittany. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. Yeah, I've been doing it a while, and it's just something that I genuinely enjoy doing. I love being on stage and just having a good time. So I'm excited about this show.
And doesn't being a performing actor kind of like a great avatar? You get to get into character, play somebody, and really just rip that person's character apart because it's really not you.
Just put on the skin of somebody else and be somebody else for a while.
I love it. Keisha, you want to introduce that other character, PC?
Listen, this young man below, right down there, that is Mr. Rocky Cusso. And that is the eldest child of Mama Cusso, Michelle. Listen, I've known Rocky for many years. Most of the time when I'm with him, I'm laughing because he is a comedian for sure. But he is serious about his craft of acting, producing, and all the things that he's been involved in. He has moved to LA, doing marvelous things on the West Coast, including starting and founding Rock the Mic Live in LA. And I'm so very proud of the things that you have done and are doing out in LA, conquering your dreams. So please join me in welcoming Mr. Rocky Cusso.
Oh, thanks, sis.
No problem.
Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy?
Alan Rocky Cusso Sr. But as my mama, as y'all can see, is Miss Let's Talk Business herself, Miss Cheryl J. Crusoe. So listen, it is an honor and a pleasure to be here. Thank you to Mr. Stinyard for, if I'm not mistaken, I'm one of the first people that got cast, even before he had an audition. So not to toot my own horn, but we're doing things out here. We work.
Amazing.
And my fellow castmates, good to see Mr. Boom. Good, sir.
Funny man.
Oh, funny man.
He's
Right
funny.
on from a long line of comedians. Listen, welcome all of you all to the show, Let's Talk Business with SJC. It is a show that will be all up in your business. Today, it's all about the theater. So let's pivot now to the man himself, this 6-time plus multi-award winning Mr. Tony Stinyard. Listen, what would you like the audience to know about you, sir?
It's a tough business. It's a tough business during COVID. So one thing about me that once I put my mind to something, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna attack it no matter what obstacles come in. So, and this has probably been one of the most difficult times right now with all this COVID stuff going on. And we've been having some weird, interesting rehearsals. Actually, we're doing this for our rehearsals right now. So, and it seems to have been working. So I was very, very nervous about it in the beginning, but every rehearsal is coming along better and better.
Well, I think that's great. And I think that you're providing us. It is so important. The arts are important. I know this because all of my kids are thespians and they all started out, with the Easter speeches and the Christmas speeches, and then they just went on to become international thespians. So they love it. And I know it's important that we as a community must rally around and support the arts. But more importantly, and I know it's been a struggle because of the pandemic, it's important that we support it financially as well. We'll hear more about that because Tony is going to talk to us about his 60-day campaign. And I think we got about 30 more days left, maybe less, in the campaign. But listen, you guys are hearing us talk about a little bit about the characters. We've introduced them. There's a segment that we came across. Thank you, Tony. And I'd like to just take a few minutes. And so for all of you, listen in to the interview being cast. I believe this was the 2014. Ricky, if you would go ahead and cue that up. And so that our radio listening audience can really get a look inside of the play and listen to what people are talking about. You might see somebody you know. Or like me. I was like, wait, that's my brother. Saul's Juke Joint.
The premiere of Saul's Juke Joint, the first night of the show, and I'm here with Jim Webb, correct?
Yes.
And I want to know what you thought about the show, Jim.
Well, as is obvious by the crowd's reaction, it's got everybody wrapped.
Really?
Absolutely.
Now, Jim, tell me, who are your favorite characters in the show?
Well, I have to confess, I'm a fan of the dancers, and
dancers.
I saw a little bit of the rehearsal earlier, and I think the music is fantastic.
And then you smack it, just like crack. Now that you know, now here we go,
What do you think about the show, Marianne?
I'm really enjoying it quite a lot.
So, John, what do you think about the show?
I thought the show was outstanding. It was great. It was classic. I'm just so glad I came.
And I've been working for these ever since. You see, I have to get away. I just have to.
Well, do you know what age of your family is right now?
Oh, no, Miss B, don't you dare now. Don't you dare. Don't you start feeling sorry for that devil.
What do you think about the show, Cleveland, so far?
Show's pretty good. It's pretty good. I'm really enjoying it. It's intense.
No matter what, I'll never stop loving you. I'll never stop, no matter what, I'll never stop loving you.
Hey everybody, I'm back here with the writer, director of the play, Tony Stinyard. Now Tony, that was an amazing show.
Well, thank you.
That was so amazing.
Thank you. Well, I'm just glad the audience enjoyed it. That's the goal is to get this word out here because we're trying to continue Saul's Juke Joint. So we want to spread the word so we can start traveling on a national tour. So I try to do the best I can on coming up with something that can actually be compatible to Broadway. So that's what we're trying to do right now.
Hey everybody, this is London wrapping up the premiere of Saul's Juke Joint. Don't forget to check us out on the website. It's right down below. That was an amazing show, and we thank you all so much.
Yay!
Whoa, man!
That's that young slim Tony Stinyard.
Wow.
Like 15 pounds smaller.
But listen, I don't care how many times I see a piece of this play, it just ignites something within me, and it brings me right there. And listening to one of listening to the interview and one of the guests saying his favorite part being the dances, all aspect of it, Tony just comes to life. What do you say to not having just seen the clip? Tony.
It actually, I'm getting emotional about it just now. I haven't seen it.
No, me too.
Me too.
And, just to know what went behind it and all the hard work that went into it and just how it came about, I still don't have an answer to it because I used to always tell people before, like, I wasn't a writer. I just had the story in my mind. I really wanted to get it out. And Mr. Boone contested one time. He said, man, because I confessed to him one time. I said, man, I don't remember writing it. He said, God wrote it.
Yes. And you know what? I must say this, and everything about it, the full entire plot and the magnitude in which the characters just came to life. But I must say, after I left that play on the drive home, what I could not get out of my head was get it.
Oh yeah, so yeah, that's
right now.
That's our character, Booker Boy. So I don't want to tell it. Yeah, I'll tell it. He's a guy that can't talk. He's a guy that can't talk unless he has some sip of alcohol, which we call hooch in the show.
Was that piece written in the script?
Me and Mr. Boone wrote that song together.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I wrote it. He put the music to it and made it what it is. So, but yeah, I wanted to have that character have his own song because that's all he talks about throughout the show is performing his own show and writing songs.
Having listened and having seen this commercial, Mr. Boone, what do you say? What do you feel?
I'm like Tony, I got very emotional watching that. I haven't seen it since the last performance. And it's a very good play. And I know God is all over that. I can see it and feel it. And I just thank Tony for asking me to help him with that because I didn't write any of that stuff. So I'm just glad that God came to me and with these inspirations by way of Tony to do that music. And I can't tell you today how I even began to write it. I can't.
But I
Listen.
I want to share something because when I was creating this, I had a lot of friends that have they produce music and everything. So I went to those guys first, trying to get these guys to come in and help with the project, but it wasn't right. And some of my friends getting mad at me, like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. I know what I want. And actually, his son, Desmond Jr., was in my first film that I won an award for. And I reached out to him because, remember MySpace at the time? Yeah, his profile picture was him playing a percussion. And I was like, that's a real deal, stuff like that. So I'm like, music. So I reached out to him and I told him what I was doing, and he introduced me to his dad. And make a long story short, I took a script to his house, and he actually read the synopsis of the script, and he sung it. And I told him, I said, do it again. And
early in the morning too.
Yeah. And I knew we had it. And then I called him back the next day and said, hey man, we gotta work together.
Oh, I love it. Keisha, girl, what say you?
I have so many questions.
Well, before you get into too many of your questions, we're going to take a commercial break in about 3 minutes. So you might get a question in.
Well, Tony, I guess I'll ask the question to you since we have 3 minutes. Obviously, we know that why did you decide, or why was it important for you to include or name the characters after your family members?
Just because I was leaning towards the Saul's juke joint thing, and I just wanted to kind of keep it connected to my grandmother for some reason. And because my goal was to do this show and also surprise her with it, in which we did do that. Because she had no idea what this play was about and everything, and so she was very surprised the very first day. But one thing I can tell you what happened was we had some ticket issues going down, so I got radioed down to come down. And I ran downstairs and everybody's in line, and my mom and my grandmother did not know I was behind them. And they're talking about me. And they said, they're like, this boy got all these people here, it better be good. And
ain't nothing like family.
Ain't nothing like family to tell you the truth. I'm telling you.
And I was nervous the first show. I was very nervous. And, I think Mr. Boone, if he remembers this, I was hiding because I was starting that show and almost left and went to the 7-Eleven down the street, and I would come back when it was over.
Well, we're glad that you didn't do that.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was nervous, man. It was a test.
Well, it takes courage. It takes a lot of hard work, and reaching back to bring those childhood memories, right, to help create this story. So I know your castmates are thankful and grateful that you did, and I'm sure your grandmother appreciated, you using some of her, all of her in this play and production to bring this forward. So that's amazing. That is amazing.
It is amazing. And what a tribute, what a piece of your grandmother's legacy that will be here for generations to come. And that's what we as a people have to start thinking about. What impact are you making in this world today? Oh Lord, I'm all up in Keisha's time. What is your purpose? And what are you leaving so that the next generation will have something to hold on, and more importantly, have something with substance?
Right. One of the other goals too was to actually kind of like resurrect some of these dances in that era, because from tap dancing to Lindy Hop swing dancing and stuff, we as a people, our culture, we own that, in the 30s and 40s. And a lot of people right now, if you mention that to a younger generation, they have no idea what you're talking about. I was talking to someone the other day, they said they never known a tap dancer. So I felt like this is one of the things I can do to like install this in our youth again. So I really want to kind of get this show back to where I want it, so we can start introducing it and just keep that culture alive.
And not only that, speaking
hold on, Rocky, if you could just hold that thought for just a minute. Let's go ahead and pay these bills. But we will see you back to our Facebook family, our YouTubers, everybody on our social media platform. Like and share back in a moment.
Cancer affects everyone, but minority populations are often hit hardest. Moffitt Cancer Center is working to address the barriers that keep some groups from getting the care they need. African Americans develop cancer at a younger age, have more aggressive cancers, and experience worse outcomes than the general population.
While cancer treatment is evolving with precision medicine, who is being left behind? We know for many decades that some groups experience a greater burden of cancer than others. We can prevent it, we can detect it early, it's very beatable when we find it early. I have worked with cancer patients during their treatment. All cancer patients have courage.
So my treatment was about 18 months. I had 3 cancers and 7 surgeries. But my son told me, like, Mom, you're the strongest person that I know. Moffitt saved my life.
During COVID-19, Moffitt is a safe place for your cancer care. Call now to schedule an appointment.
Smooth Soul is In Touch Radio. You're listening to Tampa Bay Tammy.
Your girlfriend.
On In Touch Radio.
In Touch Radio.
Catch my show that will be all up in your business. Let's Talk Business with Cheryl J. Cuso. Every Wednesday at 12:31 p.m. My business experts provide insight for business entities and entrepreneurs. So join us every Wednesday from 12:31 p.m. to 1:31 p.m. at www.intouchnews.com. Catch my show.
Y'all heard it during the commercial break. It tickles me every time I hear it. Catch my show. Welcome back to Let's Talk Business with SJC. I'm here with my co-host, Mrs. Keisha Boyd. And right before the commercial break, Rocky was about to share something with us. Rocky, you go ahead as Keisha comes in and bring all of the characters of Saul Juke Joint to life. Rocky.
Well, I think it's just phenomenal how this play came full circle in a sense, because as you mentioned, the dancing, we actually had the honor to perform this show in front of the queen of swing herself, Miss Norma Miller, who was one of the original Lindy Hop style dancers. And if you look at those old school swing movies, Hopapalooza and I forget all the names, but she's actually one of the premier stars in those films. She actually had the chance to come and watch the show in Tampa. And kudos to Tony as well, because even in that interview where we saw him talking about the longevity of this show, yes. Here we are so many years later, still, and it's still going, because we were one of the first shows to perform, if I'm not mistaken, at the Atlanta Black Theater Festival. And so we got offered to come back as a special request. So just to give you the impact and a little bit of the legacy that he's created. And I'm reminded of it because we just lost actor, comedian, A.J. Johnson from the Friday movies, Ezel, right? And it just reminds me of how a piece of work can live way beyond, you. And so the fact that we had a chance to meet her and to learn from the person who was there. And so it's just, I think it's just phenomenal. And even as I'm looking at my castmates, I mean, all of us have already been associated with the play. So we're still connected so many years later and still, still performing this play. So I think it's just phenomenal.
Awesome.
So when you guys get a chance, Google Queen of Swing, Norma Miller. You'll even see her in an episode of Sanford and Son and some other things.
Oh my goodness, I will do just that. Thank you, Rocky, but we're going to hear more about you. Take it away, Keisha, you got the mic, girl.
All right, so I am so excited to get to know our castmates or the cast of Saul's Juke Joint. And I'm going to, just ask a few questions. Some of you, I'll give you a warning that I'm going to ask all of you the very same first question. And that is, except Mr. Boone, because he doesn't have necessarily a character. But for all of you that do have a character, I'm going to ask you to describe, right? I'm going to ask you to describe your character with 3 adjectives, just 3. So think about that while I come around. But I'm going to start with Mr. Boone, just because I never necessarily acted before. However, I've been blessed to work on a few TV shows with our Emily, if you can mute, I don't know. Yeah. If you're not talking,
Keisha.
Yes.
She was going to be our surprise guest. I wasn't sure if she could get in.
Hi, Emily.
So Keisha, if you would just give us a minute to Tony and cast and crew, one of the original members of Saul's Juke Joint is Miss Emily Rogers. Welcome to the show.
Everyone. Greetings. Happy to be able to join and connect. Enjoy and just excited for October and what's coming up. So congratulations, everyone. Great to see you.
Thank you.
I know we only have you for a few minutes, so tell us a little bit about how you got involved with Tony and the play, and what character did you play?
Oh, Saul's Juke Joint was such a wonderful project that I was able to work on for several sessions and runs, I'll say. And I played Celie. Celie interacted with Booker Boy, Cleo, and PC, of course, and just had a great time there at Miss P's place. So enjoyed it and know it's going to be wonderful in Atlanta.
Now, how many of these iterations did you participate in?
I participated in 3 iterations, 2 in Tampa and 1 in Atlanta several years ago. Yes, it was wonderful. And actually my family came out. Yes, I hope to be able
to come to the ATL, but I do want to take this opportunity. Listen, she came from a very important meeting just to say hello to you guys. That's just how much we love you, Tony.
Yes, hi, PC. Great to see you.
Pleasure.
Very pleasure.
Well, thank you so much. Back to you, Keisha.
All right. Thank you, Emily, for dropping in on us. We appreciate that so much. All right. So, Mr. Boone, I've had the opportunity to work with music supervisor Jabari Ali on several shows and movies. And I understand the importance of the music in any production. And so I want you to explain to people, what is your role as a composer for Saul's Juke Joint?
Well, actually, it was to write about the essence and the period of that time, and to take chord progressions and where music was written then, to put it in a form that people will love it today. So there is a small modernization of it, if you will, but mainly I just wanted to capture the essence of the period of that period, that style. And that's how I approached it. Like I said, with a little bit of contemporary feel to it. So it's more appealing with the younger audience today. And
awesome. And we know that really in any film, TV, any production, I believe that music is extremely important. It's as important as any other part of the show, right? Especially with a stage play, because that's what we look forward to. So how do you know when something is like the perfect fit for this scene, or the right match, and when you need to go back to the drawing board?
Actually, I never know. I'm always not satisfied. Even when someone thinks it's good, for some reason there is something still not there. But I have to learn to walk away, because I'll be writing the same piece forever if I don't do that. So for the most part, I can tell when the timing is good, if you will, and there's a tremendous hook. I love the hooks. And like I say, I'm never satisfied. It's hard. I'm never satisfied.
Well, I understand that you're a perfectionist.
Yes, and they tell me I'm very anal about that. And my wife calls me a bully. She said I'm a bully when I'm rehearsing, because I can be a little bit uptight. So I want things to be perfect, actually. And coming from the Marching 100, that's how that starts.
Hey, listen, I was about to say that. That must be that FAMU training.
Oh my God.
Hey, get it.
Yeah, the best thing I ever been in.
That's amazing.
Those days, I have to say that.
Awesome. That is amazing. Now, my last question for you, as a composer, how do you connect with the newer generation? Obviously, if you're to make it modern and contemporary, you have to connect with, I guess, some other folks, right? To help you come up with this. How do you bridge that gap of generations, I guess?
Actually, it's all about the sounds, if you will. You take the sounds of today, which a lot of them are electronic, and you implement that with the real stuff used to be, so it gives it that sound of now. But you keep the chord progressions and the feel of what was there a long time ago. But adding that beat with the pop snare and the deep 808 kick, it kind of makes the ear for the younger people, ooh, it catches them immediately because of the sounds. It's all about the sounds, actually. As far as making things contemporary, if you will. And that's
All
the
right. Amazing. I love it. I love it. Now, some of us just got a little bit of a music lesson because we're gonna have to go back and research some of that stuff you talked about. But I got it. All right. So let's talk to Mr. Lynn. Are you available, Mr. Lynn?
Oh, yes, ma'am. I'm right here
All right.
listening to it and enjoying.
All right. So listen, Lynn, you were an officer of the law for a long time. What, 28 years? How long were you an officer?
20 years, 4 months, 28 days, 8 hours, and 31 minutes.
Talking about knowing it down to the minute. My God.
Well, a tour of duty was 8 hours and 31 minutes. So I did my last tour.
Wow. All right. So what some of the themes of Saul's Juke Joint, some of it, has obviously racial undertones, right? And things that you may have encountered as an officer. How did you pull maybe some of your experience as an actual officer for Saul's Juke Joint?
Well, to be honest with you, I didn't.
Okay.
What I did pull was from my youth. I'm an older gentleman, and I was on the first school buses when they finally integrated a particular school. And the first time I ever heard the N-word, I was about 7 years old, and hearing the first word. So I saw how things progressed. Also, where I grew up was very musical. When I was 16, 17, I was a lifeguard at Count Basie's pool. And in case people don't know who Count Basie is, look him up. And I never forget, the first time I saw Count Basie, Duke Ellington, Sarah Vaughan, had a jam session at Count Basie's house. I was freaked out. And the music, the atmosphere, the this, and that. I said, wow. And of course, in those days, there was no cell phone, no, nothing that I could video it. But what an experience! And so when Tony invited me to play Cleo the last time we played, it was fantastic, and I just loved it. The music, Mr. Boone, you did your thing, and Mr. Boone kind of chewed me out because when we were all singing. And he stopped and looked at me. I don't want to hear your voice. I said, yes, sir, yes. I mean, he was no joke. So I sing very good in the shower and in the car. But Mr. Boone wanted to hear me sing out loud. And so that kind of corrected me from any little phobias I had from singing. My character, Obi, I read the play like twice before I started putting together who Obi was to try and find out and start feeling who this guy is. And I found he's a fun-loving, hooch-drinking, card-playing, loyal friend. And he will stand up for what's right, no matter what. And one of the lines, I'll take a bullet. And he will take a bullet for what's right. And I love that piece. I love it. So I just hope I do the character justice, and I'll just give honor to God that I'm chosen for this, and I'm going to do my thing. That's what I'm going to say.
All right, now, Mr. Obi,
Miss.
Yeah, right. All right, Miss Amber, who has our lead role in Saul's Juke Joint. Describe your character in 3 words.
3 words. I would say caring, persistent, and strong.
All right. Caring, persistent, and strong.
Yes.
Okay. Sounds like most women I know.
Definitely.
So, what will the audience get from your character? Tell us a little bit about the character you play.
Okay. I of course play the character Miss P, who owns the Juke Joint. I think the audience, first let me say, it actually has a lot to do with today's society as well. A lot of things as far as women, even sometimes children, go unspoken, a lot of hurts. a lot of torture that you may have experienced, it has to go unspoken. You can't necessarily tell on who did something to you, who hurt you, and things like that. And I think a lot of women, a lot of people in general will be able to relate to Miss P in that way because she is a survivor. And she lost her husband, a lot of different things that she went through. So in that, I think a lot of people will relate.
All right. And how did you get into this acting role? Is this something you wanted to do as a child, or how did you get here?
I have been around the arts for all my life, to be honest. My mother, she was a musician. She was a classically trained pianist. And of course, being her child, she was harder on me. So I didn't want to play the piano. So I said, no, mommy, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. So, but in the arts, I geared towards theater. I was very modest, still am, as a child, but this was my way that I could express myself how I needed to and become somebody I wasn't, So it's been a while since middle school, I believe. I've been into theater, went to college, and been doing it now professionally. So yes.
Amazing. And we'll probably come around to some more questions for all of you, but I'm going to jump to Mr. Rocky Cusso. PC, listen, I have known Rocky, we've known each other for a long time, right? And as long as I've known you, you've been in the arts of entertainment, and you've been in this business for a long time. How many years have you been doing this, entertaining?
My first performance, I believe, was second grade. I played Michael Jackson in Thriller and the female character. I played both parts. I would hop from side to side. It was the same voice, but I played that intro to the Thriller video.
And his parents invested in that $250 red and black leather jacket that Michael Jackson wore.
I hope you still have
many of Thanksgivings. I meant Halloween's. So
you got multiple use.
Yeah. Had a Jerry curl and all. So I've just always been performing. Even in middle school, we had a TV show, the school morning show. So when I look back, it was just like, wow, I had always been doing something in front of somebody on some stage, even in church, whatever, speaking engagements, always performing.
Now, with Saul's Juke Joint, what attracted you to this play, this role, and what do you do to prepare to get ready for it?
Well, I was doing some other stage plays, which is actually where Tony got introduced to me. I didn't meet him at that time, but I was just hungry for performing. And even then I had started producing some stuff, but any opportunity that I saw, I tried to be a part of. And so when I heard the announcement, especially in our circle of actors, so it's when you hear these auditions and calls and you're like, okay, I'm gonna go check it out. And so when I saw that it had swing, and I had done some swing dancing in college, it just sounded right up my alley. So I went in. I remember even at the end of my performance, I was like, I can demonstrate some of my swing moves. And he was like, okay, go for it. So I think you had a young lady who was helping to interview people, and I asked her to come up and assist me. And so we did a couple of swing moves and all that good stuff. So I just connected with it immediately. And so my three, well, I'll let you know.
Yes, I do want your three adjectives.
Yeah, so, PC, and I connected with him. The PC is fun-loving, insatiable, and hedonistic. So he is very pleasure-seeking. Yeah. So some of that time you knew me in Tampa, I was exploring my character in those days.
You won't tell Mama, because we'll talk about that all
Hey, Mama, no. So when you ain't the first one to try to call her Mama Cuso. There was a few girls she had, no, baby, I'm not.
Baby. Oh, gosh.
Listen, I got to bring myself back together, Keisha, since you interviewed him. If my husband was here, he would say Rocky's acting, and he came out of the womb acting, to tell you the truth. But when he was 3 years old, it was an organization called the Lily White Lodge. And he was acting up a little bit, and they said, put him in a play. And we did, and he was telling a speech. It was during Easter about, his speech was about Peter Cottontail. And he went up there and in his nice little 3-piece suit, got on stage, did his play, nailed it. Then he put his hands in his little pockets and he said, and then Peter Rabbit came running down sidewalk, my house, in my yard. And my husband was going, get off the stage, get off the stage. And he would not get off the stage. So here we are, 40 years later.
He's still on the stage.
I don't even remember that story, but all right.
My mother never forgets.
Never. Miss Brittany Nicole Bellamy, how are you? So tell me your 3 adjectives for your character. Is it Vertime?
Vertime.
Yes, tell me about Vertime.
If I had to describe Vertime in 3 words, she is she's very giddy. She is compassionate, and she is loyal. She is fairly new to town. She actually works for Miss P, but has immediately fallen in love with all of the characters there. She is very loyal to her place of business where she works. It's like a family for her. While developing the character, I just assumed she moved away from her family and has attached herself to this group of people. So she's just a new member of the family.
And as you saw in that video clip, actually, originally Brittany was one of the singers, and now here she is on the acting side.
I was one of the singers originally, yes. Actually, Saul's Juke Joint was the very first stage show that I've ever done, ever. It was the start of my career in performing. Tony took a chance on me. After auditioning with him and Mr. Boone, that was my very first time auditioning for anything. I auditioned to sing. My very first time being on stage, and here we are 10 years later, and I've done a myriad of things since then, and it ends up right back in where I started.
Right back at home. You always come back home. Yeah. Now tell me, Brittany, how do you, since this was your very first show, how did you get over your nerves? I can imagine that you probably were nervous and, you know.
I was. Well, I've been singing forever. I, grew up in church and did the whole youth choir thing and all of that. So I've always had a passion for it. I love being on stage. Yeah, I just kind of took a chance on doing theater. I'd never done anything like that before. The adrenaline, once, those lights came up and I came out there in my dress and I'm like, I like this. Like it was like nothing I've ever felt before. It took, something that I've always loved to do to a whole new level. So it's almost addicting. Like, what's next? What's next? What's next? And that's how that started. I'm nervous every time I get on stage, but that actually helps because it just makes me want to show out.
Amazing.
Well, Keisha,
yeah.
because I'm a clock watcher.
Yes.
But listen, this is what I would like to do. No. I want you to continue talking. But what we're going to do is we've got some pictures we want to show as you're talking to the cast. And then right at in about 5 minutes, we're going to pause for a minute to let In Touch go off, but we're going to continue the conversation because I want to make sure that Tony makes the appeal, and I want each of the cast to make their appeal for people to support the GoFundMe and to support the play itself. So Ricky, if you could go ahead and start with the pictures, and then Keisha, you can go ahead, but right at 1:28, let's pause for just a minute, and then we'll let In Touch go off the air.
Awesome. So I was going to come to you, Amber, and ask what keeps you in theater?
My love of it. It's just, I get a feeling outside of myself, if that makes sense, and I get my joy. That's my happy place when I'm on stage. And it's just one of those things, kind of your passion, and one of those things that's never going to go away.
Amazing. Same thing for you, Rocky. You've been here and doing entertainment for a while. What it's not for the faint of heart, for sure. What keeps you grounded? What keeps you going? What keeps you motivated?
Well, you know, if it's in you, it's in you. And as my mom was alluding to, I've been performing the whole time. So it's just like whenever you have the opportunity, or even when I came out to LA, you create your own opportunities. You got to get it out. And shout out to my mom, because that performer side didn't always go mesh well with the schoolwork and like being focused in class, because it's like you don't even know what's going on in your head as a young person, and why you can't sit still, and why you got to be the voice center of attention, and not realizing at that time you're just a natural performer, and that has to get out in some kind of way. So you know, they were patient with me. But hopefully it looks like it's paying off.
Oh, good. That's amazing. Tony, what is the legacy that you're building or want to leave with your production company?
I don't know. Like I said, I want to be just impactful. I always had to, like Rocky was saying earlier, I always did want to have a project that's gonna be around for the next 30 years. So like one of the inspirations was Color Purple. You know, so I'm kind of jumping around a little bit, but Color Purple and Idlewild was actually kind of the blend I had for Saul's Juke Joint. I wanted to put those two together, and I said I want to create something that's gonna be around even when I'm gone, and let my kids have it after I'm done with it.
Amazing.
And Keisha, we're going to pause for just a minute and give us a minute, and we'll come back and you can ask your next question.
Okay.
Okay, In Touch.
Man, where's this slideshow? I'm getting caught up in these pictures.
Listen, oh my gosh, it's just taking me back. Like, oh my gosh, I could cry.